I've recently been asked to go into the office for an interview, which hasn't happened in a few years. Outside of feeling some nervousness, I'm really excited to actually be in person talking to potential coworkers. As expected, it will be a behavioral interview and a front-end design architecture. I've never had a front-end design architecture interview. I joined my startup as a junior developer, and after 3 years, I failed to realize that as I matured in my career, so would the interview questions. So I've curated some potential questions with answers for the front-end design architecture portion. I hope it helps other developer in my position. General front-end architecture questions. What are the key principles of front-end architecture? Modularity. Designing the application in small, independent modules to enhance reusability and manageability. Reusability. Creating components that can be reused across different parts of the application. Separation of concerns. Dividing the application logic into distinct sections, each handling a specific aspect like UI, business logic, and data management. Maintainability. Ensuring code is easy to maintain and update by following consistent coding practices and documentation. How do you approach structuring a large-scale front-end application? Folder structure. Organize files by feature or function using directories like components, services, views, and assets. Component hierarchies. Design components to be as independent as possible using a tree-like hierarchy where parent components manage state and child components handle presentation. State management. Implement a state management solution like Redux and Context API to manage application-wide state, ensuring state consistency and ease of debugging. What are the pros and cons of using a component-based architecture in front-end development? Let's start with pros. Reusability. Components can be reused across different parts of the application. Maintainability. Easier to update and manage individual components. Testability. Components can be tested in isolation. And cons are complexity. Can be complex with deeply nested components. Overhead, initial setup and learning curve can be higher. What are the difference between React, Angular, and Vue.js in terms of architecture and use cases? Okay, first, I would like to tell you about React. Architecture. Library focused on building UI components with virtual DOM performance optimization. Use cases. Suitable for single-page applications where a high degree of customization and performance is required. Next, let's move to Angular. Architecture. Full-fledged framework with a strong opinion on how to structure applications, includes features like a two-way data binding and dependency injection. Use cases, ideal for enterprise applications requiring a robust framework with many built-in features. Last one is architecture, progressive framework that can be incrementally adopted, combining the best features of React and Angular. Use cases. Great for both small and large applications with a gentle learning curve and flexibility. How do you decide which framework or library to use for a new project? Project requirements. Consider the complexity, scale, and needs of the project. Team expertise. Choose a framework or library that the team is comfortable with or can quickly learn. Scalability. Assess how well the framework library scales with the application's growth. Community support. Prefer frameworks, libraries with strong community support and frequent updates. Explain the concept of a virtual DOM and its significance in modern front-end frameworks. Virtual DOM, a lightweight, in-memory representation of the actual DOM. Changes are first applied to the virtual DOM, which then efficiently updates the real DOM. Significance. Improves performance by minimizing direct DOM manipulations and batching updates, leading to smoother and faster UI rendering. What are the different state management solutions available in front-end development, and how do you choose among them? Redux, suitable for large applications with complex state logic and strict state management requirements. MobX, ideal for applications requiring reactive state management with less boilerplate. Context API, best for simpler state management needs within React applications. How do you manage state in a React application? Local state, managed within individual components using useStateHook. Lifting state up, move state to a common ancestor to share it between components. Context API, use createContext and use context for sharing state across the component tree. Third party, Redux or MobX. What techniques do you use to optimize the performance of a front-end application? Code splitting. Break the application into smaller chunks that can be loaded on demand. Lazy loading. Load components or modules only when needed. Memoization. Use memo to prevent unnecessary re-renders. How do you measure and monitor the performance of a front-end application? Lighthouse, a tool for auditing web page performance. Web Vitals, a set of metrics for measuring essential aspects of user experience. Browser developer tools, built-in tools in browsers like Chrome. Dev tools for profiling and analyzing performance. How do you approach testing in front-end development? Unit testing. Test individual components and functions using tools like Jest or Mocha. Integration testing. Test interactions between components or modules. End-to-end testing. Test the entire application flow using tools like Cypress or Selenium. What are some common debugging techniques and tools for front-end applications? Browser developer tools, Elements Panel, Console, Network Panel, and Performance Panel. Logging, console.log for simple debugging. Debugging extensions, React developer tools, Redux dev tools. What are some common security concerns in front-end development, and how do you mitigate them? XSS, cross-site scripting, sanitize user inputs, use content security policies, CSP, and escape HTML. CSRF, cross-site request forgery, implement anti-CSRF tokens and use same-site cookies. CORS, cross-origin resource sharing, configure CORS headers correctly on the server. Secure authentication authorization, use secure methods for storing tokens like HT-only cookies and implement proper access controls. What is a progressive web app, PWA, and what are its key characteristics? A progressive web app is an app that's built using web platform technologies but provides a user experience like that of a platform-specific app. Offline capabilities. Work offline or with poor network connections using service workers. App-like experience. Provides a native app-like user experience. Performance. Fast loading and smooth interactions. Engagement. Push notifications and home screen installation. What build tools and task runners do you commonly use in front-end development? Webpack, powerful bundler for JavaScript apps, capable of handling CSS, images, and more. Babel, a compiler for writing next-generation JavaScript and ensuring compatibility with older browsers. What practices do you follow to ensure code quality and maintainability in a front-end project? Code reviews, implement regular code reviews to ensure code quality and knowledge sharing. Linting, use tools like ESLint to enforce coding standards. Documentation. Maintain comprehensive documentation for the codebase and development processes. Automated testing. Ensure high test coverage with automated tests for critical parts of the application. This video was created by Lazy2Read, based on an insightful article written by Johnson Cow from the Medium.com community. Scan the QR code above or click the link in description to visit the original page, read more, or leave a comment.